Mike Robinson, and this is, yes, you guessed it, another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had a blessed week. I definitely had a blessed week, and I was looking forward to getting up with you guys today. Um, as usual, Eltar is bringing you the most interesting, the most thought-provoking, the most bossest guests that we can find, and tonight is no different. Tonight we have Miss Coach Deb. Some of you know her affectionately as Coach Deb, but I know her as Miss Deborah Stancil, aka the fine woman in the gym. Um, that's a little inside joke, but
Yes.
she is a certified life coach. She is a business advocate. She is an entrepreneur and just an all around girl boss, as I put in my posting. We're gonna sit down with her and just kind of pick her brain on everything that she has going on and try to just gain a better understanding of what it is that she does and who she is as a person. For those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Stan, so I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and give a little background to her and her movement. So, with that being said, you have the floor, Miss Stan.
Thank you so much, Mike, for the opportunity. It is a long time coming. I remember so much about you from many moons ago working at Eustis. And so it's great to see you and how you have evolved in this space. Um, again, thank you again for the opportunity to be here tonight. I am Deborah Stancil. I'm also known as Coach Deb. I'm a certified Say Life coach. I assist people with their finances. And when I went through that coaching process, I was trying to discover exactly what it is I was going to assist in this area. And finances always comes up for me. The most questions people ask me are about money. And for whatever reason, they feel comfortable asking me about money. And for those who don't know me, I'm a retired Marine, and God has a sense of humor. Once I retired from the Marine Corps after 20 years and 21 days, but who was counting, I started working for the Army and at Fort Eustis. And I have done numerous things there. And now I am a Save Life coach who helps with finances. I help people get from where they are to where they want to be. And I definitely will let them know, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. So I help them with their mindset. I help them with their budgeting. I help them with their wealth journey when it comes to generational wealth and what that looks like. And that's what I do.
Wow. Okay. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Let's dive into your life coaching journey.
Okay.
Um, what made you even get into this industry? Um, and first, well, let's even go back further.
Okay.
Can you explain to us exactly what a life coach is and what's entailed in it?
That's a very good question. We are not therapists. We are not psychologists, although I do have an undergrad in psychology. We're not psychologists. We actually help you resolve your own issues. And we help you do a deep dive into um, where you are and to where you want to be. And most of the time, people already have the solution. Often we are a sounding board and we give you some tools to help you through that process to really take a deep dive into what's stopping you from achieving whatever that goal is. In my case, when people start talking about money, they want to talk about everything else. And then they get comfortable enough with me and they trust me enough to actually get to the real issue of money because it's normally not because it's not enough or they don't have enough money. It's their mindset about it and what they're doing with it. So how I got into this industry again, questions have I'm a saver by nature. I've always been that way. Things of money and interest and stocks and bonds and mutual funds, all of those things have always interested me. And I am as my friends describe me, better than Google. I just retain information. And when people ask me questions, right, I was able to recall, and I just have a great memory. And how I got in this, that people would ask me about money, and then they would fact check me, and I would be accurate. And so when you get into the coaching arena, when you're helping, and when you're on active duty, you find yourself as an NCO, you're mentoring all the time. And once I left that, I still found that in my civilian career, I was still mentoring. I was still answering questions about money. I was still answering questions about TSP, the Thrift Savings Plan, and different questions about bonds, stocks and bonds. And it's just something that just keeps following me. So I was like, okay, God, I hear you. This is what, this is the direction that you want me to go in. So I just stopped avoiding it and I embraced it. So here I am.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And it's pretty profound. Like, your first statement was that you are not a counselor, you are not a psychologist. And
Yeah.
I've had other people on that are life coaches, and that's exactly what they say too.
Right.
Why is it important to make that distinction?
Because when you are in those licensed areas of psychology, and you're looking into somebody's background, and you help them to discover. Now, psychiatrists, they're going to look at it as maybe a chemical imbalance, and they'll provide you with a prescription. A psychologist is going to, and a sociologist, they start to look at maybe your background and some trauma that you may have experienced. When you're doing a life coach, we are dealing with what is, right? And we deal with exactly what the issue is, and we help you resolve it, your own questions, your own problems that you already have. We often are a sounding board, and then we also give you some suggestions. We don't tell you what to do. We just keep you engaged in the process. We keep you in action, and eventually you already know what you need to do, right? Sometimes you just need someone to hold you accountable, and coaches often do hold you accountable. That's in anything in life, coaching, with whether you're on the court or if you're in life, coaches hold you accountable.
That is interesting. Particularly in our community, the African American community.
Yes.
And yes, I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about mindsets. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, it's not that we don't make enough money or that we don't have enough money. Um, it's that our attitudes towards money, or how we prioritize money,
Correct.
is what's kind of screwed up. Um, how do you contend with that? How you come across me? I come to you, Coach Dab. I'm having trouble with my finances and or whatever, and I just can't seem to make ends meet or whatever. And you come to find out that a lot of it has to do with my spending. Like, maybe I'm spending too much money on sneakers, or spending too much money on food, or my car, or whatever the case may be. How do you contend with those types of mindsets?
When you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So that's definitely what we do. We help you pinpoint exactly what it is, because you often know what your vices are. You often know if you're a sneakerhead. You know
Mhm.
if you are the shiny object, the nice car. If you've always had a car note, you've
Mhm.
never paid anything off. What's your mindset about how you dress, how stylish you want to be. Do you cook, or do you like to eat out? Do you have a budget, or do you
Right.
just spend until it's gone? Right. So do you put breaks in place, or stop gaps in place, or do you just spend until you get to zero? So do your budget, because a budget is the foundation of everyone's finances. They don't want to do a budget because they think it's too restrictive, but actually, it's freedom. You tell your money where to go. If you don't tell it where to go, it'll go where it wants to. So you handle your business or your business will handle you.
Wow. Wow. And again, in the African American community, I think that
Mm-hmm.
um, speaking personally, um, growing up with a single parent with a
Mm-hmm.
single parent household, which is my mom, and a lot of times she worked one or two jobs, whatever, to take care of my sister and I. Um, I wasn't always able to attain the it thing at
Right.
whatever at any given time.
Right.
So when I was able to make my own money,
Mm-hmm.
my mindset was not to save, but to splurge and keep up with the Joneses, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Um, I think that a lot of times, unfortunately, we haven't been taught. I'll I'll speak for my generation. We weren't really taught to how to save money and the importance of saving money. So I think that what you're doing, what you're attempting to do, is very important, particularly in our community. Um, what I guess we might have already touched on it, but what would you, in your journey, what would you say is the most common mistake that people make once they get into relationship with you? What do you come to find out is the most common mistake that people make? Um, once you start dealing with them.
I mean, you touched on it, and I was listening to what you were describing, and a lot of times that's what when I'm dealing one on one, I'm doing one on one coaching. They discover the root of their own issue, right?
Mhm.
And you saw some things that you were denied when you were growing up, and you made some promises to yourself. Once you were in a position to do that, you were going to treat yourself, right? And I
Right,
don't see anything wrong with treating yourself, but you got to put it in perspective. And so
right,
when you put it in perspective, everything, I'm not saying don't ever spend money. I'm not saying that, but I do encourage people to, um, I'm faith based and I know I'm not a coach for everybody. And I get that. And most of the time when we're sitting down, I'm going to talk about faith. I'm going to talk about fitness. I'm going to talk about family. And then I'm going to talk about finances. We'll get to that. Right. Um, we can phrase it as pay God, pay yourself, pay your future self, and then pay your debt, right? So all of
wow,
those, and when you layer it like that, you put things in priority. So if we're chasing the shiny object and we're trying to get to all of the things that we didn't or we thought we were denied in our younger self, we forget to take care of the future version of us, right? So I did some things when I joined the Marine Corps at 18 that took care of the 38-year-old version of Deborah. And then as the 38-year-old version retired from the Marine Corps, those decisions that she made at 38 are now taking care of the 55-year-old. And some of the decisions that I'm making now are going to take me into the rest of my golden years. But um, you have to, whether you think about it or not, or whether you plan for it or not, time moves forward. And that's a commodity that we don't get more of. So we
that's a
have
fact.
to take advantage of that time. And then you find yourself, because I've had coaching clients that look around their home and all of the clothes and all of the shoes, and all of the things, it could have been a down payment for a home that would have been something that was more tangible for them than the stuff that they no longer wear or they no longer find to be important. And so we, as coaches, we help you, really figure out what's important to you and how to get to that, right? Because you can have it all, you really can, if you do things in moderation, right? So it's not that you can't have any of those things. I always encourage my clients to make a calendar because Christmas comes every year at the same time. It shouldn't catch anybody off guard. Birthdays come. It's gonna be
Right.
December 25th every year, right? Um, it shouldn't catch you off guard. Birthdays, the important people in your life. that you want to buy gifts for. Their birthdays come every year. If you're married, your anniversary is that day. Why not plan for it, right? So it doesn't
Right.
catch you off guard, and you can decide if you're going to do something lavish that year, or if we're going to focus on something in our future, so we can get rid of some of that debt, and then we can buy back our time. Because when I talk about finances, I'm really talking about freedom. So when you don't owe people, right, you can make better decisions about what you do with your time and what you truly
Mhm.
enjoy, right? So if you
Right.
didn't have the debt, Mike, I can feel that this would be what you did all the time because you're passionate about it. It doesn't feel like work. Because so when you can put in
Right.
12 hours at a job and then come on here at night and still be energized and engaged, it's what you're passionate about.
Right.
So we
Right.
get rid of the overhead, then we can really deep dive and change the priority of what we are really focusing on.
Wow. That's awesome. You mentioned fitness.
Yes.
Um, what role does fitness play in this whole dynamic?
What all of those other things, right? All the things that we like, you know, could be travel, it could be cars. I promise you, if you're ill, if you're sick and you can't get out of bed, the car won't matter, right? All you want to really do is have good health.
Right.
So if you had to choose between the all the things and being able to breathe, I'm sure most people would choose being able to breathe, right? So that's why I say you can
Right.
do all those things simultaneously. So if we overindulge in one area and we forget about, because most of the time when we start to have those aches and pains, they were some things that we did 10 years ago that are now catching up with us. So if we didn't treat our bodies well, we'll start to feel those aches and pains. Some of those crazy diets that I went on to maintain my weight, some of those 5, 10, 7 mile runs, with not so right sneakers on, you know, they pound on my knees. So
Right.
fitness is important, because that's the health piece. And
Right.
without good health, all the things don't matter.
Wow. Does that do you does is there a correlation between your physical fitness or your physical health and your financial health? Do I make better
Absolutely.
decisions? Do I
Right.
make better
Because,
decisions when I'm fit than when I'm
right.
than when I'm not
You're
fit?
right.
And when
You're
I'm
spot
not
on. Because
fit?
how do you feel, Mike, after a good workout?
I feel good. I feel really good. I feel relaxed.
Yes.
I feel my head is clear.
Correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So, again, back on the whole African American thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you're dealing with clients,
Mm-hmm.
do you find it it's funny, like when I speak to people in your profession, they all seem to have the same viewpoint. It's like people will be in need and they'll come to you and tell you that they're in need.
Right.
But then when you start to help them,
Mm-hmm.
they get upset with you for helping them.
Right.
Is that something that you is that something that you contend with? Because you begin to, like you said earlier, you begin to kind of pull the veil off of things that maybe they may be doing that's putting them in whatever position that they're currently in. Do you find that it's hard to contend with that because you got, like I said, you got people, they are in need. They struggling. They are
Mm-hmm.
in need. They try to
Right.
do it on their own and it didn't work. And that's that. And they come to you, but then when you start saying do this, do that, do this, do that, they don't want to hear it.
But,
Is that
but
something
often, Mike, we're addicted to the chaos, even to the dysfunction. Even if we're uncomfortable with it, it's familiar, right? And so,
Mm,
getting someone to embrace a different way of doing business, right? And I always encourage my clients, if what we're doing does not work, what you've been doing, it will always be there. You can always revert back to it, right? And often when you're not ready, you're not going to do it. And I understand that. Or you're not drawn to my voice. And that's okay too. As coaches, we can't have so much ego that we think we can help everybody. I'm not for everybody. And I get that. I'm not an emotional coach, right? We got to put emotions to the side. We're not going to be emotional. We're going to deal with what is. And we're going to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Now, when you're not ready to go, I get that too. I get that too, because you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. So, but when you're ready to do it, it is a phenomenal feeling if you have been deep in debt. And one of the things, we always encourage you to do as a coach, if you're deep in debt, is to stop digging.
Right.
Stop digging. But some people, all they know how to do is borrow. They don't know how to change their behavior. It's the other B. It's your behavior that you need to adjust, not go borrow more money. Because in our community, we when you hear rob Peter to pay Paul, that's literally what is happening. You are borrowing money to pay a bill. And other communities, they borrow money to make money, right? So what's going to be different if you borrow money to pay a bill? Where is the extra money going to come from to pay that other bill? So instead of changing your behavior and making some adjustments, you may not be able to eat out 5 days a week. It may be only one. But once you take a deep dive into what your behaviors are, I had one client, she didn't realize that she spent $1,000 a month eating out.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
You're making the money, you're eating it.
Right.
She was eating.
My pastor, I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
My pastor, she shout out to Prophet Vicky Evans. She told me something like some years ago, and I think about it every time I go out to eat. I think about it, I promise you. She says, don't eat your seed. She said, don't eat your seed.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like we take care of our money, and like you said, we spend thousands of dollars going out to eat and doing things. And the thing about it, in our community, it seems kind of funny to me. You might not agree, but I feel like we go out of our way to impress other people that are in debt too.
That's correct. When you start to really look at people who have money, they look homeless sometimes, right? The only time you see Mark Zuckerberg dressed up is when he's sitting in front of Congress. Most of the time you're going to see him in a black t-shirt and some blue jeans, right? He stayed in his college apartment until he got married. And he was a millionaire on his way to billionaire status at that point. When you see the likes of Bill Gates looks like the average nerd with some khakis and some glasses, right? Warren Buffett is they call him a frugal billionaire, right? Many times over. He doesn't drive a Bugatti. He doesn't drive a Maserati. He drives a Cadillac. So he still lives in the same home he purchased in 1974.
Wow.
And we want to look like we have money instead of actually having some.
Right.
But you're right. We often try to impress people who don't matter.
Right. And that are in debt too.
That are in debt too. Because when you start, you know what your friends do for a living, and you know how they're living, and you're like, that don't add up. So if you start running the numbers in your head, somebody is overextended somewhere, right? And they're still trying to keep up the appearances, because when I've had people come in and talk to me, and these car notes are getting ridiculous. They're becoming rent and mortgage type notes, and they're paying from anywhere from $700 to $1,400 for a car payment. And that's just the payment. That's not the maintenance. That's
Right.
not the gas. That's not the
Right.
insurance. Um, and
Right.
what is all of that for? And then when your kids get ready to graduate from college, now if you got children that are 8 years old, how old are your children, Mike?
I have an 11-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Okay, so if you haven't started looking for scholarships for your 11-year-old, you're late. Um, you should have
Mm.
started when your 11-year-old was 8, because there are scholarships out there. When you go to scholarshipsharing.org, I share this all the time. And some people take advantage of it, some people don't. Most of the time in our community, we start looking for scholarships when they get to high school. That's really late. And we
Mhm.
will say we'll just go ahead and sign the Parent Plus loan, and we just do the FAFSA paperwork, and we'll do loans when we could have done our due diligence and applied for scholarships, and then they could have a debt-free degree, in the words of Anthony O'Neill. But it required us
What
to
was
do
the
some
name
work.
of what was the name of that scholarship?
Sharing.org. And she was in the same position when she was in college. She comes out to churches. I heard her at a church. She started a nonprofit, and to help individuals with their college journey and higher education, because it was so expensive. And so she started a nonprofit. Her sister, she helped her get the Bill Gates scholarship, so she was paid all the way through her PhD. She had twin brothers at the time I met her. They were 11. They're probably graduating now from high school, and she had them already set up into their graduate degrees. So, and on that website, she has scholarships where you can just stack it. They'll send you the check, or they'll send you a certificate. She encourages you to do a spreadsheet, open a bank account, and deposit those money and earmark it for education. Right. So if we know that our children are going to go to college, why not already be planning, right? And if
That's a fact.
if they don't go to college, then they'll still have the resources like Five Guys Burgers and Fries. They started that because they didn't want to go to college. Their dad gave them their college fund, and they said, Dad, you got the best burgers in town, and we want to start a business using your recipe.
Wow.
And here they
Wow.
are.
Wow. That's amazing. That's
Right.
amazing. Um, entrepreneurship, um,
Yes.
that has become something that is more relevant than I've ever seen it in my life. Like,
Right.
more people are starting businesses, more people are starting different things like life, like you said, life coaching,
Correct.
clothing, different things of that nature.
Right.
Um, do you feel like at this point in time in the world, do you feel like it's more important now to be um literate than it has been in the past? And if so, why? I hope that
Um,
makes sense.
it does. We have to, because the world is changing, the world is evolving, so we do have to educate ourselves, right? And when I look back, we used to own our homes. That was one of the things we did, and our parents and our grandparents didn't make nearly the amount of money that we make, right? But they were able to pool their resources together, and they were able to purchase land. They were able to purchase homes. They were homeowners. And where we got off track, and where we shifted our mindset about what was important and the inheritance that we should leave our children and our children's children. We have land in our family that my grandfather ensured that was going to pass down from generations to come. He was truly a man before his time. People don't understand that land can produce, and I always wondered what my grandfather did for a living. He had a fully functioning farm, and he also had land. When my father and my uncles were drafted, they would send home allotments. He purchased more land. He had over 50 acres of land, and he sold timber to timber companies, which is still something that's very viable right now. And a
Yeah,
part of the contract,
absolutely.
when they cut timber, they had to replant. So it generated income for the next generation, right? So the literacy piece is often we just move away from the basics. The basics are still important, right? As a family unit, moving as a family unit, we've gotten away from moving as a family unit where everybody is going in separate directions. And I just think we can do more together if we all are moving in the same direction. We don't want to live as a community. We don't want to learn from each other. And I think one of the things that we're absent, what we're missing is trust. We don't trust each other. And why is that?
Mm-hmm.
The owners of the Chick-fil-A corporation, they trust each other. They have a family trust, right? And they're going to, they have identified who should be running the business and who should be in the background benefiting from the business. And they trust the one with the business mind is going to be the one that moves them forward. But everybody gets their piece of the pie. But why can't we? We can do the same thing. Abundance is not for a few. It's a promise that was made to all of us. So literacy, education, you got to be open to education. So we should be learning more about finances, more. We should teach our children more about finances. I'm with I have a co-host that we do a Wealthy and Winning Inside Out. We're doing a Kingdom edition, our first Kingdom edition, which we're going into churches. So that's going to be April 1st at Church of Purpose. Shout out to my bishop, Ronzel Pretlow. He said, yes, we can come to the church and provide a workshop and have that conversation about mindset, about money, what the scripture says about finances. The only thing that God talked about more in the Bible than money was the kingdom itself, the kingdom of God. That's money is over 2,500 scriptures concerning finances, and we skip over them for whatever reason. We don't adhere to that, but we already have the blueprint about how to move this thing forward. Obedience is definitely better than sacrifice in this area.
Absolutely.
We can deny self.
Wow. What would you say? Before we start talking about the podcast, because I really want to hear about that too.
Okay.
If you had to name one thing about yourself, what would you say has been the biggest change, or better yet, what have you learned about yourself that you probably didn't recognize prior to beginning this life coach journey about yourself? If you could name one thing, what has it taught you?
That I'm not everyone's savior. I can't save everybody, and I can't save anybody who does not want to be saved. I can only do what I can do, and I'm not for everybody. That's one of the biggest things, because a lot of new coaches, when they hit the ground running, they want to help everybody and feel like a failure if you don't help everybody. I'm more of a somebody. If I can help somebody along this way, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That was a part of my assignment. You cannot go out here, and I had to toughen my skin, right? Because when you put yourself out there, and I know you know this, when you put yourself out, you do podcasts, when you start speaking on social media, people will pick apart what your motive is, right? But when you come in and help people with their finances, this is not always something that's going to produce millions. right? I'm just being obedient. I'm trying to plant seeds. I'm trying to encourage somebody to take control of their finances. And it only takes one person in a family to make a decision to create generational wealth. And it starts. You may be that person. And if I'm the one that plants that
Wow.
seed, I am the youngest of 10. And it took
Wow.
10 to get to 10 to have this conversation. And I'm willing to do that. I did not choose to be this person in my family. It was already ordained from the beginning. My sister, my older sister, she used to always say, if you ever get any money to go with your attitude, this family's in trouble. She saw it when I was a kid.
Right. Wow.
She saw it when I was
Wow.
she's
That's
much older
crazy.
than I am. And I said, from your lips to God's
Yeah.
ears, because I
But I
always
mean,
say
I
that.
think,
Go ahead.
yeah, that's that's the thing. That's the thing
Yeah,
because you look at your children and they gradually, organically um morph into the person that they're ultimately destined to be. You know what I'm saying? They
correct.
exhibit certain traits. And like you said, you look at your sibling or you look at your child and you say, oh man, he or she is gonna be a leader,
Yes,
or he or she is gonna be a scholar, or he or she is gonna be a business owner of some sort because they just carry themselves in such a way that they just stand out. I get that.
right,
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. So let's dive into this. Let's dive into this podcast that you're doing. Um, I saw you post Freedom Friday and all
Yeah.
that. So what's all that about? Who you think you
I
are?
do.
What you
I know, right? I am who God said I am, right? So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
do a Wealthy Wednesday. I give nuggets, and I do a Freedom Friday, and I also do on Freedom Friday. I do a money quiz. That's the second part of Freedom Friday. But on Wednesdays and Fridays, because I would shy away from the camera, I would not do a podcast. I'm more of an in person, on stage type, right? That's my jam. That's where I come alive, right? You see the other side of my personality. I'm dancing, all this other things, all the other things. But um, God said, do better and get in front of the camera. And I need you to teach, because that's another part of me. I come from a family of educators, so I love a classroom. I love to teach. I just had to get comfortable with doing it in a box, right? Talking to
Mhm.
myself, basically. My sister can do it. She's done it she always made commercials in the bathroom, but I was not that type, right? And
Right.
so this part you see me doing is being obedient, because again, I get a lot of information, I get a lot of downloads, and God said share it. I need you to share what you know. I need you to share what you see, what you read, because I'm an avid reader. I love to read, and I love to talk in person. It was just the social media piece that was missing. And he said, no, I need you to do that too. So in a in my efforts to be obedient, I started Wealthy Wednesday. My co-host, Coach Rhonda, she started to bring me on, because that was her thing. She never had a problem with that. So she would bring me on, and we would do a Wealthy Wednesday together. And then I started doing a Freedom Friday, and I started doing Wealthy Wednesday on my own. And so my participants are really so if you ever join us, and I do it on 7:30 on Wednesday and 7:30 on Friday. But if you ever join us for the money quiz, don't let them intimidate you. I have a all the way live crew that comes in. They're very competitive. They're learning. We have different topics. We've done the ABCs about finance. We've done currency from around the world. We've done cryptocurrency. I taught them how to do ticker symbols and how to look them up on Yahoo Finance. So they're learning and don't even realize because it's so much fun, and the competition just takes over. And Mike, I fund that out of my own pocket, but I promise you, every dime that I have been obedient about the prizes that I give out on Freedom Friday during the money quiz, God has given it back tenfold. So
Wow.
he said, don't worry about the provision. I got you. Right. So I don't even worry about the money. I'm just being obedient because it comes back. Money is definitely a currency, right? And nobody can put anything in a closed fist.
Right. 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 That is a fact. That is a fact. You do you ever find yourself when in terms of when people ask you for help, do you find yourself feeling like a mechanic, so to speak? And what I mean by that is, right, people for instance, if my tooth was hurting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to the dentist, and I don't care how he learns how to fix it. I don't care about his credentials at that moment. I just want him to fix my tooth. And once my tooth is fixed,
Mm-hmm.
I go about my business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't necessarily want to know how he did it, why he did it, whatever, as long as my tooth is fixed. Do you ever feel like is this a like a kind of an obstacle? People treat you in a temporary manner. Like
Mm-hmm.
they come to you with the issue, and they're not necessarily coming to learn anything. They're just coming for you to fix the issue. And then once they fix the issue, once you fix the issue, if you decide to do so, they just go about their business and probably eventually get back into trouble again.
Mm-hmm.
But is that a part of your experience? Do you see when people you ever like pick up on the fact that people don't necessarily want to learn how to to maintain their budgets
Mm-hmm.
and their finances in a responsible way? They just want you to fix it. Is that
Right.
something that you don't contend with?
And again, as a coach, we don't fix it for you, right? We help you to ensure that you know what the steps are because you already know what you need to do. And much
Right.
like that tooth, Mike, if you don't do the maintenance, the what caused the pain in the first place will return. And
Right.
you're going to be back in the
Right.
dentist chair, right?
Right.
And often you're going to be in more pain than you were before. And you're going to experience probably some loss at that point, right? Because you did not fix or correct the problem. It doesn't go away if you do not address, if you don't acknowledge, and you don't make those necessary changes. You have to do it. I can't do it for you. And I'm okay with that, right? I if you're okay with being where you are, I don't take on that. Right. That's why I said I
Right.
don't take on emotions anymore. I don't do that. I've learned that at being a coach, I can't take on, not that I'm methodical, not that I'm not empathetic, but I know when you're not being forthright, and I know when you're not being honest, because again, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And if you are implementing some of the tools and the strategies that we have discovered that you need to implement, it'll show, especially in this arena. Your utilization is going to be over 30%. You're going to be close to your credit limit. You're going to be behind in something. You're going to have an overdraft. It's the behavior will manifest itself in other ways that are going to be visible, and we're going to be able to see it.
Wow.
So when you tell me that you are paying your debt down, I said, I'm although I'm from LA, and that's not Cali, that's Lower Alabama. I become from Missouri. I come from the show me state. So you got to show me,
Right.
right, as your coach, because
Right.
now you trust me. So show me that you did what you said you were going to do, that you implemented the strategies, that you made the adjustments. And if you've done that, it will be reflective into your debt to income ratio. It will decrease. If it's not, you are not lying to me, you're lying to yourself, right? And you're
Right.
denying yourself the future that you say you envision for you.
Right. Wow. So who is your biggest influence? In other words, who coaches you? Who coaches the coach?
Who? Good question, right? I have in several different areas, right? So I encourage others, even if it's not a physical being, if it's a virtual being, that because you don't have to have somebody that sits down with you and coaches you one-on-one, right? So I encourage individuals to do pies, which is in the physical area. You have somebody that you see, that you look up to, that you watch, that's in the physical space, right? So this one lady like April Mason, I love her style when she works out, so I follow that. Intellectually, I've always found someone that appeals to me intellectually, that I can learn from, right? So when I'm doing that, I'm normally in a podcast. I'm watching Anthony O'Neill. I'm watching Patrice Washington. When it's in the emotional space, and I'm trying to manage my emotions, I'm normally, I kind of lean into my spiritual side, right? And I have a spiritual coach and Bishop. So Bishop Ronzel Pretlow helps me in the spiritual space. So he is an in-person. He is someone that I can call and talk to. And also my co-host, who's also a master coach. And we find we can have those conversations with each other. We actually are boot camp buddies. We went to Marine Corps boot camp together. She was in the top bunk at first, and I was in the bottom bunk, and that's how we met. And we're still lifelong friends, and we've reconnected to do Wealthy and Winning. And so when I'm having some issues and making some adjustments and need to bounce things off of, she is a great asset that I've added into my accountability partners that I have. And we all should have those. We should have individuals that are, please don't put that on. I'm talking to my sister. Every time I'm recording, she likes to make noise. So
Shout out to your sister.
yeah, I know, right? She get ready to use a microwave. Right? They just don't respect people who are trying to do something. But yes, you definitely want to have someone in your corner to deal with all of those things that come, right? So hopefully, Mike, you got some people in your corner, and you stacking up your
Yes, I
team,
do.
and you're gonna fix
Yes,
the fight in your favor, right?
yes,
Because we all have
yes,
those
ma'am.
days.
Yes, ma'am. Um, I have, shout out to Pastor Charlie and Prophet Vicky Ammons. Those are my
Yes.
overseers, Pastor Ray and Pastor Ray and Danette Miller. I'm sorry, my senior pastors at RCCVA. Man, they are, a set of power couples that have really influenced my family. Showing us the importance of how like what you were saying, faith, finance, and
Mm-hmm.
fitness,
Yes.
how it
How it all
all
ties in.
ties into one another. And
Mm-hmm.
I thank God for them. And then not to mention the fact that the ministry is just filled with overflowing with creatives and business owners and advocates for financial wellness and all that type of thing. So we couldn't be in a better place than what we are right now, in my opinion. Shout out to RCCBA. Love you guys, salute you guys. But
Absolutely. That's real good.
but to answer your question, absolutely. Um, what would you say is the most common misconception that people have about you?
Um, that I am tough, that I am rough around the edges, as they say. I think I'm a little bit more polished than people give me credit for. I've had
Okay.
people who I walk in a room and um, uh, they perceive that I'm one way and I'm another way, right? And so I've been told that. I've walked into a staff meeting and someone has told me that I thought you were one of them. I said, one of who? And she said, I thought you were bougie. And I was like, what does that mean? And then she said, you're really good
Right.
people, right? I
Right.
walked into a meeting yesterday and um, someone at the meeting, she said, I knew exactly who you were when you walked in because I knew that you would be very stylish by your voice when I talked to you on the phone. And she said, you didn't disappoint. It's just amazing some things that people have already formulated in their mind about who you are and what you represent. And you don't even have to say a word. And you just have to know who you are when you're in this space. And I know you know that, Mike. You have to know who you are, and you have
Absolutely.
a gift. You have a beautiful voice. I don't know if you're still recording. Um, so all of those things, and now being in this space and bringing people in and having these conversations and doing your kingdom assignment, right? Um,
Mhm.
uh, People have a misconception. Is he going to ask me the hard questions? Is he going to punch me in the face? Is he going to give me a pass? So you just never
Yeah,
know, right? But when
no,
you say yes and you come on,
no.
you don't know how the conversation is going to flow, and what it's going to reveal. So I think people have I don't even have to say anything. I just walk in, and as you know, people formulate their own opinion about who and what I am, and that's okay too because I know who I am and whose I am. So that helps.
I have kind of adopted this whole new kind of mode of thinking. I think that, I believe that it's God given. God has really been dealing with me.
Hmm.
And I know my friends are probably sick of me saying it, but embracing your greatness, like
Yes.
God, and God gives us a certain gift, talent, or ability to do a certain thing.
Hmm.
And sometimes we look at it at face value. Okay, so for instance, if I'm, like you mentioned, music. God
Yes.
gave me the gift of music.
Yes.
So I can look at that and say, okay, He gave me the gift of music, so I'm gonna do music. But why am I doing it? Why did He give me the gift? Why not the next person?
Right.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And now it's I feel like I'm coming into the understanding that it's the gift is not just for me to operate in, it's for me
Hmm.
to operate in to help and serve.
Yes.
There's a reason for it. And
Yes.
a lot of times what happens is on your way to that you have a particular thing that you might do well, right? But
Right.
on your way to doing that,
Hmm.
you find out things about yourself that you did not know. Like there's certain facets of like with me doing music, I found out that I like marketing and promotion.
Right.
I, I like the production side. I like,
Yeah.
interacting with people and talking and connecting.
Hmm.
These are things that didn't necessarily know prior to going in, and ultimately gave birth to what you see right now. You know what I'm saying? It,
Hmm.
it kind of it kind of groomed me for what I'm doing right now. And so, sometimes we take the gift at face value, and that's all we do. Like, okay, I'm able to do this well, so I'm going to do this well because this is what I'm naturally doing. But we don't do the work to find out why
Right.
why we're able to do so, or better yet, what's the purpose of me being able to do said thing? Where
Yes.
is this supposed to take me somewhere? Because we
Hmm.
feel I'm a firm believer that each one of us has a remnant of people that are assigned to us, whether we know them or not.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Whether we
Yes.
know them now or maybe we might meet them down the road somewhere. And so they're waiting for us to make certain decisions, to go left or go right, to operate in this gift or that gift, to say yes or to say no. They're waiting on us, whether they know it or not. They're waiting on us to make certain decisions so that it'll lead us to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To get whatever it is
Yeah.
that we're supposed to get. But in order to do that, we have to embrace it. Like we have to embrace the fact that you're able to do things. I think sometimes we get into the mode of, I hate to use the term, but false humility. We're humble because we feel like that's what we're supposed to be, when we're actually supposed to be bold in whatever it is that we're supposed to be. Yeah, okay. You know, God gave me the ability to sing. So when people say you can sing, there's a time and a part of me that just kind of cringes at that when I hear it.
Why?
Because I don't know.
Mike,
But
you have
God is good.
fans that know you sing, and we are wondering why we haven't heard you sing. Why don't you have a jingle that comes in with you singing? I have no idea. I thought the commercial would be you
Well,
singing,
that's the
right?
thing. Right.
But
Well,
but you have gifts and
the
talents, and you're supposed to
commercial,
use all
the
of them.
music that you hear comes from right, right. And so I'm getting into that place now where I'm asking God, like, okay, you've given me this gift or whatever. And so
Mhm.
up till now, I've been using it, but I've
Mhm.
been using it because I can use it, but not really any understanding of why I have it. So
Right.
it's now my mission to gain understanding of why I have it. Where is it leading me to? Who am I supposed to help by way of this gift, talent, or ability? Who am I supposed to help on this podcast? Who am I supposed to meet? Who am I supposed to connect? You know what I mean? Like, who am I supposed to bless? Who's supposed to bless me? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Right.
but God is showing me that it's a matter of embracing your greatness. It's not,
Yeah.
and it's not conceit. It's not arrogance or conceit. It's confidence. You're saying, okay, God has given me this job. God has given me this mission, and you're saying just that. Okay, I accept it because I understand
Yep.
and I know that this is what He's given me. But that's
You're
what
supposed
I've
to use
been kind of
all
like.
of them.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
with family,
Uh,
Mike, when we were talking about the family piece of it,
mhm.
you were saying that you don't know who you're supposed to help, and a part of who you're helping is your children's children to know who their great great grandfather was, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
every video you make, every song you sing, and you're not here, you've left them a blueprint, you've left them a legacy of where they come from. That in itself is a part of generational wealth. It's not just money. I encourage, my clients to record their elders, right? And part of us recording ourselves, we are leaving a blueprint, right? Because success does leave clues. And you are giving them an insight of where they come from, and the stock and the DNA that runs through their veins. And he was a great man. He talked to thousands. He reached others. He could sing. I mean, so all of your gifts and talents are not just for you, right? It's
Right.
to encourage and influence those who are coming behind us as well. And they see that you did it, they can do it too, right? So they don't have to start from ground zero. They don't have to
That's a
start
fact.
from ground zero.
That's a fact.
So
That is a fact.
I guess I'm gonna hear you sing something soon, right?
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually working on some stuff. I'm almost done. I'm
Okay.
actually working on some stuff. So look out for that. Um,
Okay, because I've seen you on the podcast and I haven't heard you talk about music, but okay, I thought I would ask.
yeah. Well, I ask other people. I talk to other people
I
about
know.
their music, but I don't necessarily. talk about mine.
I noticed.
But yeah, what are some of the things that now you mentioned the conference that you're doing.
Right,
Um, what are some of the things that you have coming up? Like do you have any events coming up
right.
in addition to what you touched on?
Well, this is Women's History Month. I'll be helping to close out Women's History Month. I'm one of my I do a brunch. It's called Black Queens Matter, and I met. She's an active duty soldier, and she's having a empowerment dinner in Chesapeake on Wednesday. So I'll be speaking there. She's going to have some youth from the community, some young ladies, and so she asked if I would come and speak to them. So I'll be doing that on the 29th. I will be doing the Wealthy and Winning Inside Out Kingdom edition. That'll be our first edition. We did a workshop in December. We did one on March 11th, and we'll be doing the Kingdom edition. This is the first time we've actually gone into the church and done one. So we'll do that on the 1st of April at Church of Purpose on 101 Main Street in Newport News. We've guaranteed the first 25 that sign up for the workshop, we're going to have something special for them. So they'll get their a takeaway, a package, a gift from Coach Rhonda and I. I have another church that has an interest. They're working out the logistics, so I don't have the date yet. So we're just trying to, they were supposed to have their meeting so they can do their calendar and make sure that we're available. And I even got one of the local HBCUs reached out to me to do a retreat that they're having in August. So we're working out that date as well. So we're going to be out here in the community. And if you want Coach Deb or Coach Rhonda and Wealthy and Winning to come out and speak at your church, or if you got a women or men's event, we don't discriminate. We do both, right? Because mindset is great. And we do believe in all the biblical principles. Coach Rhonda is married. I'm not married. I'm divorced. But, we pack a big punch when it comes in that area. We still talk about mindset and generational wealth in that arena as well, and talk about providing and provision for the families and the protection that men provide, and ensuring that we understand what their assignment is and what our assignment is also. So we have some great things coming up in the community. And we're looking for other opportunities. So we can be reached. We're on social media. We're on Instagram. I'm Coach Deb 757 on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. They can inbox me as well.
Wow. Well, I usually save that for the end, but that's cool. That's cool.
I take every opportunity.
Hey, listen, I'm not mad at that. This is my last official question. It's a
Okay.
question that I ask all my guests. And when I ask it, I just want you to take a moment to think about it and give me the most honest and transparent answer that you can give me.
Here it comes.
And here's the question. Here's the question. What would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
Ooh, that's a good one. Success for me looks like that I have fulfilled my purpose, that I have left this earth better than I found it, that I've made an impact in someone's life, that it changed them for the better. It provided them some hope and put things in perspective, that if I could do it, they could do it as well.
Awesome. That is awesome. Well, Miss Deborah, I definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing a bit of your wisdom. I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface, but honestly, I feel like we go way deeper. But
Yes.
This is an hour show, and I'm trying to be respectful of your time. I really I take my hat off to you and all that you're doing, and I appreciate you taking the time out to sit down with us and just kind of letting us pick your brain and chop it up with you. Really appreciate it, and I want you to consider this an open invitation. If there's anything that you want to discuss, anything that you want to promote, anything that you want to shine light on, just hit me up anytime, and consider this platform, you know, one that you can always come to, to share any new information or old information that you just want to remind people of, or whatever the case. You're welcome here. And again, I appreciate and thank you for it.
Oh, thank you so much, Mike. I like when you asked me when I was going to come on the podcast, and my response is whenever you invite me. So I thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to come on your platform. I have our paths have crossed numerous times. I did not foresee this coming. Um, but again, God has a sense of humor. And when we say yes to his will, we never know where we're going to end up. And we cannot be mad about it when we say use me, and he does. So I look forward to see what comes next for you. I'm sure this is not your last stop. I'm looking forward to your new music. Um, I'm looking forward to the next concert because I just think it would be an amazing, amazing gospel concert between my bishop, Ronzel Pretlow, Ron Henry, and Mike Robinson.
Yeah.
I think you guys would blow the roof off of Jacob's Theater.
Wow, wow.
Can you see the vision, right?
Shout out to Bishop Brown. He goes to RCC. Shout out to Bishop Brown.
Right.
That's my guy
Can
too.
you imagine?
Yeah, wow. Yes. Listen, I wouldn't. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I was gonna say something crazy, but I'm not even gonna. I'll just say I receive it. I receive that. Definitely.
I hope to see it. That would be most amazing.
Ma'am.
I would be in the front row. So just let me know when the
Yes.
tickets go on sale. I'll be there. Right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
again, thank you so much for the invitation.
No problem. I know you said it earlier, but if somebody wanted to get in touch with you to get your advice on some things, or get some clarification on some things, how could they get in touch with you?
They can reach me on, they can call my business line, which is 757-525-9599. They can reach me on social media. On Facebook, I'm Deborah Stancil, and that's STANCIL, the short version of Deborah, DEBRA. They can reach me on Instagram. I'm Coach Deb 757 on Instagram. If they want to email me, that's Coach Deb 757 at gmail.com. And if I can help in any way, don't hesitate to reach out. No question is a dumb question. It's just an unanswered one. So knowledge is more powerful when you share it.
Yes, it is. Again, I thank you and I appreciate you for coming on. Anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome.
Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it.
Yes. And I wish you much blessings on this and everything that you have going on down the road, and even the things that you have not even thought of yet. I wish you much blessings on that as well. And again, I thank you. And I wish you a great night and a great weekend and a great week after that.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Peace and blessings to you, Mike, and your family. And again, I can't wait to see what God is going to do in your life. So I'll be standing by as a fan.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem.
All right. Good night.
Good night. And there you have it. Another great episode with another great guest. Shout out to Miss Deborah Stancil, Coach Deb. Please reach out to her if you have any questions or any anything you want to reach out to her and talk about, please reach out. Please utilize her social media handles. Utilize the scholarshipsharing.org if you have small children. If you have children that are aspiring to go to college, please check out the site. I definitely plan on checking out this site, for my children rather. So with that being said, man, I thank you guys for coming on and watching us and checking out what we got going on over here at old El Talk, as I affectionately call it. And as I tell you guys every week, man, if there's something that God has placed within your spirit, or God spirit placed in your spirit to do, if it's something that keeps you up, that occupies your thoughts, man, something that that you're supposed to be doing, do it. Just do it, as the Nike slogan says. Just do it. As the spiritual cliche says, for every vision, God makes provision. If He gave you the vision, He's definitely going to make provision. So you just start moving forward, pressing forward to do whatever it is that God is leading you to do. And let that be that. Because again, as we said in the interview, there's a remnant of people that are assigned to you, that are waiting for you to do that thing, because it causes a kind of a chain reaction that will find itself leading to that man or that woman or that child, to do whatever it is that they need to do. But you are like the first domino. You know what I'm saying? You gotta fall forward in order for them to fall forward, and so on and so forth. And so when you think about it like that, you are, a part of a grand scheme of things, a holy scheme, grand scheme of things, for that matter. So please, if there's something that's on your heart, if it's a script, if it's a song, if it's a degree, if it's a trip, if it's a ministry, if it's a business, if it's saving $5, if it's whatever it is, stand up and embrace it. Embrace your greatness. Embrace the greatness that has been placed within you, so that you can do whatever it is that you're being called to do. So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody again for coming on and sitting down with us and just checking us out. I appreciate you guys. We'll be back in April, the first week in April. So look out for us. In the meantime, please go on YouTube, go on, on my Let's Take a Walk 2020 page on Facebook, and watch some of the recordings, the playbacks, some of the interviews that I've done up to this point. A lot of amazing people with a lot of amazing insight, a lot of amazing wisdom. Please check us out, Let's Take a Walk 2020. Or like I said, go on YouTube and type in Let's Take a Walk featuring whoever. Just put Let's Take a Walk FEAT, and check out some of the amazing interviews that we've been able to do up to this point. I consider this an amazing mantle to carry, and I do not take it for granted. And I do not take for granted the fact that you guys, come on and listen and watch and comment and all that. So again, I definitely appreciate you guys. One other thing, last thing, if you see in the comment section, at the top of the comment section, it talks about stars, right? So I've been blessed to be able to monetize this site on Facebook, meaning, they are paying me to get on the site. So I am appealing to the people that are watching to purchase a star. Star is like it's 99 cents, and it goes to the upkeep of this platform, to keep it going. You can buy as many stars as you want, but they're like 99 cents. It's 99 cents per star. So I'm asking, humbly, And I thank you in advance for your support. So with that being said, man, thanks again. Have a good night and a great weekend. And I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Let's take a walk.